question of the show is, should the Niners re-sign Jimmy Garoppolo? My question for you, Ryan, is there any scenario in which the Niners will give Jimmy Garoppolo like a big multi-year extension this offseason like they did 4 years ago?
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. If he plays really well in the postseason and wins the Super Bowl and plays well in the Super Bowl game, I could definitely see it happen. But that's what it's going to take, in my opinion. I don't think anything less than a Super Bowl win with Jimmy playing well is going to cut it. Now, if the 49ers go into the postseason, Jimmy does bad, but they still somehow win, I still don't think they're going to extend him at that point. So I think the only way that they extend Jimmy Garoppolo is if he is responsible for postseason success, particularly a Super Bowl win.
I could see the Niners re-signing him if he signs if he does everything that you just said, but I wouldn't. I don't trust Jimmy Garoppolo. I think. No, I'm serious. I think Jimmy Garoppolo is one of these guys who has good contract years. I think he's a good player, and he can. Look at him right now. When he's healthy and legitimately motivated, maybe that's the wrong word, incentivized to play his best. Look at him. He did it in 2017. He became the highest paid player in the league. I mean, no one saw Jimmy Garoppolo go into the Niners and playing that well. That was amazing. And now he's kind of doing it again. I don't know how much money he's going to get, and he still has further to go. But I don't trust a player like this. Like, you're good. Why do you play football, Jimmy? Because you love it and you have to be the best? I don't think so. Because what happened was he played like that to get the contract, and then for 4 years, he played like he was like, whatever. I threw a pick. I threw a touchdown. Whatever. And now it's like, I'm a free agent next year. Okay, I won't throw picks anymore. Like, oh, really? That's the kind of guy you are? So I feel like, fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. He's in the position right now where he knows this contract he gets next is going to be the last one. 31 years old. He's probably not even going to see the end of the contract, but it's probably going to have a big signing bonus, and that's his last big payday. So we've seen Jimmy Garoppolo, what he can do when he's properly motivated. Good thing for the 49ers, but if they want to keep him around, they got to find a way to keep him like on a year-to-year incentivization, that's not a word, plan. And I don't think that if he keeps playing this well, some team might fork over a 3-year deal, fully guaranteed, like Kirk Cousins. And shame on any team that does that, because you already know what's going to happen. First name, Kiara. Just kidding.
Yeah, so, I mean, we've seen the story before. He played amazing in 17, but let's walk through it. Help me remember, because I'm not sure how great my memory is here. 2017, he joined the 49ers with about 5 games left, balled out. They gave him that contract. 2018, he got hurt pretty early, right? When did he get hurt in the 2018 season? Do you remember?
Week 3. Now, if you remember, though, so 2017, he balled out. He was playing basically the Patriots offense. 2018, he's trying to learn Kyle Shanahan's offense. They get smoked week 1. Week 2, they win, but barely. He gets sacked 6 times against the Lions. Week 3, they get smoked, and he tears his ACL. So that season was not off to a great start. And then 2019, it started off with that 5-pick practice at the end of training camp, and Kyle was like really stressing the entire year. And anytime Jimmy did anything bad, it was like, we're running the ball. We're running the ball. Yeah. And now all of a sudden it's like, no, we're a passing team now. Have to be. Yeah.
So I think that's kind of my point. If you walk through this timeline, when Jimmy was free, new to the team, playing like Jimmy, he did great.
Yeah.
2018, started learning Kyle stuff, then got injured.
Bad
2018,
fit.
Kyle stuff.
Yeah.
Lost a big game, the big pass in the Super Bowl. Kyle Shanahan didn't really trust him after that. So you see the pattern here. And now what I saw in this last game against the Cardinals is the most trust I've ever seen Kyle Shanahan give Jimmy Garoppolo. So maybe there's some of this isn't really just Jimmy playing for the money. Maybe a lot of it is Kyle Shanahan and the way he's coaching Jimmy. Because there's differences through that.
Because the way I see it, it pisses me off that Jimmy can do this. It's like, now you're transferring your weight. Come on, because it's like what pisses me off about it, it's not my money. But, man, the Niners paid you a lot of money to be the best, to be on point with your mechanics and your preparation. And you weren't. You were sloppy with your mechanics. You were careless with your decision-making. And from what people have reported, you treat the job like a 6-month out of the year job. I mean, you're MIA half the year. That's why they tried to replace you. If you could do this stuff all the time, you never would have gotten replaced. And I just wonder, did he like all of a sudden find a standard of excellence that he wants to uphold just because that's who he is? Or is he like, you know what? I'm about to get $50 million signing bonus. Let's get it, baby.
Yeah.
I don't know. Who is Jimmy Garoppolo? Why does he play football?
Yeah, I mean, it's motivating for anybody. I don't know. After you already have $135 million, I don't know if it's as motivating, but definitely be motivating for me.
Think about it, though. If you're a 31-year-old athlete, you think, man, this is my last payday, maybe period. Maybe period. Yeah.
Definitely should be motivated. I mean, millions are millions, no matter how much you already have already. But I think this is the year where we judge Kyle Shanahan and where we judge Jimmy Garoppolo. They have everything they need. They've honestly had a really easy schedule up until this point. And so when we look back on this season, we're going to look at the schedule that they had, the weapons that they had, the roster. And this is when you could clearly judge Jimmy Garoppolo and Kyle Shanahan moving forward. I think this is the season where they got to go all in and they got to win the thing, because I find it hard to believe that they're going to have a better roster next year.
I agree. Yeah. One thing to remember with Jimmy, why he's playing so well, he's cheap this year. Mm-hmm. In the past, he was very expensive, and they've put together a really good team around him because he's cheap and motivated. Yeah, the Niners don't understand this. They're all about rewarding players and being like, "Oh, you worked really hard and you were grinding because you had incentive, and let's take away all incentive and let's just set you for life and hope that you'll play the same way because you're good." Like, no, that's human nature, Jed. Even though you don't really understand that, and so you have a cheap and motivated Jimmy Garoppolo right now, and if he wins a Super Bowl, the Niners can be like, okay, let's make him fat and satisfied, just like Debo Samuel. No, we've seen fat and satisfied Jimmy Garoppolo from 28 to 30. It was not fun. I didn't like it. I don't know. But
if there's one thing I wish the 49ers front office would do, is wait to pay guys as long as you can. And not from the player standpoint, more power to the players, but from the 49ers standpoint, motivate these guys, wait as long as you can.
Because here's why. When these players are trying to get the next contract, they're marketing themselves. And it may not be truthful. It's like, I am the hardest working player. I go to every practice. I block super hard. Like, that's what Ayuk's doing right now, right? Mm-hmm. I'm the best route. I take blocking seriously. But what about when you get the next contract?
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. And it's not that you're a fraud. It's just you're human. And football's brutal. So to act like Debo did it, Kittle did it, I am marketing myself as a throwback. I love the physicality, and I'm going to bring it every week. Oh, I got paid? You know what? Maybe I'll bring it twice a month. Maybe I'll pace myself for the playoffs. It's that kind of thing, and that's just the way it goes. And that's why I feel like Bill Belichick doesn't necessarily give out a ton of big second and third contracts. He wants the hungry players.
It's human nature, man. It is.
It's human nature.
You can't write that off as nothing. It's absolutely human nature, and we all would be similar. You know, there's some of us that even after getting paid still have that desire to be the best of the best.
Yeah, Jerry Rice. Yeah. And that's why he's a legend. There's not many people like him and Steve Young and Joe Montana, and frankly, I just don't think Jimmy is. But doesn't mean he won't win the Super Bowl this year. He's motivated. He's playing his best, and he's transferring his weight, and he's protecting the football. God love you, Jimmy.
Yeah, he's having a good season, and shout out to him. Three games in a row, no turnovers, first time in his career. So,
don't re-sign him. Do not re-sign him. No, don't do it. Don't do it. It'd be like the Joe Flacco thing. It'd be like Joe Flacco played his ass off in those playoffs. Super Bowl MVP, still wasn't worth it. One of the worst decisions in Ravens franchise history. Set him back for half a decade. Yeah. G Code says, was the pitcher Tyson Ross? No, he was professional. He was like a professional athlete from the time. He would never do that. It was this kid named Chris Perry, who was a year older than me, and he ended up playing college football somewhere, and he went to the Niners local pro day workout. I remember that. It was a big deal. We were all very proud of him. Jim Tomsula worked him out. He was a DN. Chris Perry. Scotty Dippin says, Niners have beaten 6 lottery teams. We got to relax. That's true. The Niners haven't beaten a playoff team outside their division yet. If you're the Jets, do you make the move for Jimmy Garoppolo? Make the move. How? When? This year?
After the season?
After the season. I don't know.
Depends on how the season plays out. You know, I personally still want a quarterback that can throw the ball downfield. I watch the NFL. I don't just watch the 49ers. And I watch college. I watch high school kids that throw the ball downfield. And that's an exciting awesome part of football. And Jimmy just doesn't have that.
And that's what, like, we were just praising him how he's improved. He hasn't improved in that way. And I don't see how you can really win a Super Bowl without a lot of luck against Patrick Mahomes, or if you can't throw the ball more than 20 yards down the field. I just don't think it's going to happen unless there's a ton of injuries. Things happen in football. Night Watcher says, "Go Niners, Grant. Can we see the jacket you're wearing?"
He wants you tomorrow.
QC? All right.
What's the back? Oh, I like it.
Yeah.
I used to have a jacket like, not the QC one, but I had a similar, those starter ones when I was in like 6th grade. Looked just like that. It was dope.
Yeah, the starter. Do they still make stuff? The starter hat, starter jacket's really cool.
They're bringing them back. I just saw.
They should. Yeah, because everything 90s is like back in style now, right?
Yeah.
It's weird seeing like 17-year-olds wear Doc Martens. I'm like, hold on. Those weren't cool in 96. They're not cool now. Take them off. You see like Doc Martens and bell bottoms. Like, again. I'm telling you, 17-year-olds, it wasn't cool in the 90s. It was a bad look.
Yeah.
I thought.
Yep.
Doc Martens was a very Caucasian look. You know what I mean? The whites love the Doc Martens. Shreddy Murphy says, "Hey, at Ryan, I saw Debo get a toss play opposite the sideline. He lined up on just like you said. Then the next play, Debo was a reverse for TD. Dude, our quality control is so real."
Shreddy Murphy, one of my favorite names on here.
Novin says Ayuk hit the cameraman in the peanuts after a second touchdown. Did he really?
Yeah. You see that?
Ayuk's a menace. Edward, thank you. Matthew, Grant, good call on Mason and Purdy and their top-notch talent being held back because Kyle had no vision. That air handoff was inspired.
I wonder who was that on. I wonder. That was hilarious. But I think that is like a part of why Jeff.
I was never a Brock Purdy guy. I like Jordan Mason.
I think that's probably on Jordan Mason. If I had to guess, it's a Jordan Mason. And I think I saw some of that earlier. That's probably why he's not seeing a lot of the field. But when he's running, he looks good to me still. Yeah.
G.I. Jones says, "Can we finally say Kinlaw's a bust?" Getting close, but I don't know. The thing that sucks about him is it feels like, what's the next move for the Niners medical staff? Like, he just went to the number one ACL surgeon in the country, the world. He just did that. So what's the next move? I don't know.
To me, when I say bust, I don't look at injury as the reason to call people bust. I look at they didn't live up to their expectations by their play. So for me, it's just like an unfortunate, never had the opportunity to see, but hopefully he does. We'll see.
The thing about him is, I in the back of my mind, I kind of feel like, just let's see what happens when he leaves the Niners.
Yeah. A lot
of times people who can't stay healthy leave the Niners, and all of a sudden it's like, oh, they don't have injury issues anymore. What the hell happened?
Right.
So Josh Wyatt says, "I called for a blowout, but it was better than I anticipated. The formula we saw will lead to less injuries and will present consistent dilemmas for defenses. Sustainable, or will Kyle regress?" Yeah, I think yesterday was cool because they found an identity and it's pass first.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Which you were saying and I was saying, I think both of us all last week were saying that they need to be passing more. That you got to trust Jimmy. He's your quarterback. If he's your quarterback, you got to trust him, right? So he finally did. And
it's been half a season of the Niners lining up under center and tossing left and right, and neither of those plays working. I mean, come on. You got to adjust. It worked last year. It doesn't work this year. Right. Teams are determined to take that stuff away, so the pass is wide open.
Mm-hmm.
Couple more. Josh Wyatt. Got you. My bad, Josh. Official B&A Music 88 says Jimmy Garoppolo and Debo will get a Mike and Ike's deal with a Super Bowl win. Mike and Ike's. Debo will for sure. What's Jimmy's deal going to be if he wins? My girlfriend is from Mexico. They were booing the band because they are a regional band, meaning they bounce from the U.S. to Mexico to perform. They wanted one of their true locals to be on stage. Look, whatever the reason was, all 80,000 people knew it. And they were not like polite about it. Americans, if they didn't like person, they probably just go get a hot dog or something and not watch it. Everyone was like, "Boo!" It was so funny.
Yeah, what's crazy about that stadium? They said there's 80,000 people there.
Yeah.
When you watch it from TV, because like all the stands are covered, you barely even see people. It's kind of crazy. Like it didn't look like anyone was there, to be honest. So it's kind of interesting.
the press box is not enclosed. Like, it was made in 1960, and they haven't exactly refurbished it or whatever. So the press box is just the top row of so it's like usually there's very thick glass between us, and it's quiet. It's almost like being in a library. This was like the loudest experience. It was a lot of fun. It was like being in the Superdome. Superdome's the same way, but that's an actual dome. This is open air.
Yeah, you could hear people. You just couldn't really see the crowd.
Gregory Young says, nice to see Jimmy Garoppolo see the linebackers safety assassin in the middle and go to his next read. Greasy might have found a way to coach Jimmy Garoppolo up, unlock Kyle Shanahan has. Yeah, I know the best way to coach up Jimmy Garoppolo is to make his contract expire at the end of the season. Hey, Jimmy, it's time to make some money. Okay, coach, here I go.
Yeah.
Keneal says, contract year Jimmy equals Himmy G, Himmy Guap. Hey, man, I wouldn't bet against contract year Jimmy. This guy knows how to make money. He's good at it. He's way better at it than me. And I think I'm decent. He's really good. J Mill sounds like your computer drank the water in MX. Really? My computer?
Sounds fine to me, at least.
Man, this isn't my computer. It's a new computer, and this one is not the one that was in MX. Hopefully it's okay.
All right. Oh, maybe he's talking about your computer in Mexico.
Oh, yeah. Nah, man, it crapped out before it had a chance to. It was dead. It was dead on arrival.